Hello and welcome to the Inspiring Life School podcast. This is your host, Frances Vidakovic, and on this podcast, I'll be sharing with you the most valuable strategies to live your one wildly beautiful and most precious life. Because this is it, my friend. In case you haven't guessed, when it comes to life, there's no rewind or pause button that exists. They say that the way that you spend your days is the way that you spend your life. So my one and only goal here is to help you stop wasting your time, stop holding yourself back in life, stop experiencing non-stop negative mind chatter, stop just dreaming without doing, and start living life fearlessly instead, with more purpose, focus, and intention. I sincerely want you to live life in a way that when you come to the end of it, you know deep down in your heart that you 100% gave it your all, flaws and all. This podcast is not about doing life perfectly. Instead, it is about experiencing and living life with more clarity and courage and truly appreciating this precious adventure that we are so blessed to be on. So if you're with me here today, it's time to stop spinning in circles, get off the hamster wheel for good, put your hands back on the steering wheel of your life, and finally start living life in a way that you won't later regret. With that being said, let's dive on in. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Inspiring Life School podcast. I'm your host, Frances Vidakovic, and today's episode is all about allowing your negative emotions to be. Now, I know this might sound like a totally crazy idea when you first hear me mention it. Like you might be thinking, oh, isn't the purpose of me trying to manage my mind better so that I can learn to feel better more often or better all the time? Why in the world would I want to allow the negative emotions that I feel to stick around? I'd seriously much prefer that they don't exist. If you're thinking thoughts like this, I just want to backtrack for a moment and state quite clearly that the goal of life is not to feel good all the time. Okay? It's not to feel good all the time because that is an impossible goal to have. This is what leads to so much of our disappointment and frustration and so forth, because all of our expectations that we have about life being like rainbows and daisies and butterflies all the time, they're never met. And that's when we get upset. Okay? Our expectations aren't meeting our reality. And what I'm suggesting to you instead is that you have the option of showing up in life in a way that you love, in a way that you can be proud of. I mean, that is a worthy goal to have, but knowing that life is going to be 50-50, knowing that life is going to be made up of normal ups and downs, highs and lows. You're going to experience obstacles and struggles in your life, just like every single human in this world. This is all totally normal. Nothing has gone wrong here whenever you face a setback or make a mistake. This is just life being life. And you can experience negative emotions and positive emotions because you are a human having a human experience. So now that I've laid this foundation down for you, I want to go a little deeper and share with you why it's so important to let your negative emotions just be. Now, I just talked about this concept on a new YouTube series. Yes, I just launched my Inspiring Life School YouTube channel last week, and there you will find a series called From Overwhelmed to Super Calm Mum in 5 Simple Steps. And I want to chat about this concept here. So in that video series, I give the example of feeling overwhelmed when you start your mornings with your kids. Now, feeling overwhelmed is a pretty crappy feeling, I think. I know when I experience it, my heart feels like it's racing, my brain feels like it's going to explode because it just feels like there's so much going on inside. But guess what's really going on inside my brain during those moments when I'm feeling overwhelmed? A lot of thoughts about my current situation that are making me feel overwhelmed. Okay, I'm having thoughts about a situation and they are making me feel overwhelmed. And you guys already know that every feeling that you feel comes from a thought that you're thinking, and the feeling's going to lead you to take different actions when we're fueled by this feeling. So there's a good chance in this example, when I'm feeling overwhelmed with my kids in the morning, I'm probably thinking thoughts like, oh my gosh, my kids are taking way too long to get ready. They've misplaced all their things when they shouldn't have. They should know exactly where things are. They should not be yelling and they should not be screaming. They should be using their calm voice. Are you just noting all the underlying shoulds here in a situation that aren't being met? Okay, I have an expectation and it's not being met. And as a result, I'm starting my days feeling stressed and frustrated and overwhelmed, which leads to me probably showing up in a way that I don't love and ends with the kids unhappily leaving the house. And there's just like zero calm and peace. So, my friend, even though my kids are a lot older now and I definitely don't experience that overwhelm in the mornings anymore, I know that for many years, this was definitely my life. And you probably can already guess that one way to get to peace and calm is by changing the way that you think about the situation. But before we move on to changing the way that you think, okay, which is always an option, you can change the way you think about the way that your kids are behaving. I want you to know that first, you can start by changing the way that you feel about your overwhelm. So stick with me here because I know that most of us just want to skip over this part. We don't want to feel overwhelmed. We want to go over the next dozen hurdles and get straight to the part where we're feeling calm straight away. But what I'm sharing with you now is actually the quickest way to get there, I promise. Before you move ahead, it is super important that you embrace the feelings that you're having right now, knowing that these feelings are coming from the thoughts that you're thinking, but without layering on top of it any negative judgments about your negative emotion. So in this example that I was speaking about, which was feeling overwhelmed in the mornings, you could really insert any negative emotion here. But the question that I want you to ask yourself is, when this feeling of overwhelm, or maybe for you it's frustration or anger or resentment, when it comes up for you, how do you speak to yourself? Do you tell yourself, this seriously sucks, I shouldn't be feeling this way, I hate my life right now, I wish that everything could be different? If so, and I probably want to point out that these are probably the most popular thoughts that people reach for, because we have this belief that we shouldn't ever feel negative emotions. And if we do ever feel this way, we need to go and make it go away ASAP, because otherwise, somehow this makes us really like a bad person. We don't have a good heart. We shouldn't be feeling these negative emotions. Now, first things first, I'm going to take a deep breath here and remind you that you aren't a good or bad person based on the feelings that you are having. You're simply a normal person. Having feelings makes you a person, no matter what they are. A totally normal human being, and your feelings are of course going to vary depending on the thoughts you are having, the thoughts you are thinking, and as human beings we have free will, we can really think whatever we want to think. And we're allowed to feel pissed off at times, or sad, or frustrated, or disappointment, or envious, or grumpy, or tired. The full array of emotions from dark to light and back again are something that we are all capable of feeling. And there are many times that we will purposely choose that thought because we want to feel that way. We might want to feel really angry about an injustice that has happened rather than feeling happy. We might want to feel disappointment rather than glad and happy if we lost our jobs. We might want to feel sad when we lose someone that we love. The biggest issue that most people experience when it comes to having and experiencing negative emotions is not the negative emotion itself, but the story that we tell ourselves when we are experiencing it. It's the judgment we make about ourselves for feeling this way. Now, I feel like this is such a big truth bomb. I want to repeat it for you one more time. The biggest issue that you probably experience when it comes to experiencing negative emotions is not the negative emotion itself. Okay, that will pass. It's a story that you tell yourself when you're experiencing it or for experiencing it. It's a judgment that you make about yourself for feeling this way. So coming back to this example of, being a mom, maybe you're overwhelmed in the morning with your kids, rather than telling yourself, well, I shouldn't be feeling overwhelmed. I should be on top of this. What would it be like if you just allowed yourself to feel overwhelmed? Okay, did you know that you could instead opt to tell yourself, okay, I'm feeling overwhelmed and it's totally okay. I can get through this. I can take care of myself. I'm going to love myself. I'm going to love myself even when life is hard. And even when life is feeling overwhelming to me, and I know it's coming from my thoughts, but I still want to feel this way. And I've got this. I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to keep on going. I have my own back. So can you see that even though you could be experiencing overwhelm, there is a massive difference when you remove all the judgment that you have about yourself for feeling this way and simply allow it to be, while taking care of yourself while you're allowing it to be. Because when you stop resisting feeling certain negative emotions and simply allow them to be there with love and compassion for yourself and understanding that this is totally normal, this is actually the first step to getting to that place of calm or any more positive emotion. But you need to first meet yourself where you're at. And the overwhelm feels a little bit different. It begins to lose its power when you invite it into the room with you, rather than trying to bury it deep down or run away from it. It's simply there and it's okay. It's almost like saying, oh, hello, overwhelm, welcome to my home. Nice to meet you. Now you can stay if you like, but I'm still going to do my best to be kind to myself while you are here. And can you see that even if your circumstances could be exactly the same, and even if overwhelm could still exist in your life, your experience of it would be completely different and so much calmer when you allow it to be instead of fighting it. And when you shower yourself with love and kindness when all those negative emotions arrive, you would show up in a different way. Now, it's okay that it's there. Okay, you can allow those negative emotions to be there rather than resisting them, because that is the first step to moving beyond it. And this same process applies to any and all of the negative emotions that you could experience in your life. I don't want you to judge yourself for feeling angry or anxious or jealous or disappointed or any negative emotion. Don't try to shove those feelings into a corner and pretend that they don't exist, okay? I've already said to you, that actually makes those feelings feel so much bigger and so much more powerful. But it isn't a big deal if you feel a negative way. You're just having an anxious moment, or you're just having an angry moment. You're just having a jealous or disappointment moment, or I really should be saying you're just having a human moment. You're a normal human having a normal human experience. and you're allowed to feel whatever feelings you want to feel. So I encourage you to just say, hi, okay, it's arrived. That's okay. Allow it into your life instead of fearing it. And then just sit with it for a few moments or until you feel like you need to be there with it, and then release it when it's time to let it go. And I promise you, it's going to be way easier to let those feelings go when you haven't resisted them in the first place, when you've instead allowed them to be. But remember, you do get to choose what you tell yourself while you're experiencing those negative emotions. You don't have to bash yourself up in your head I shouldn't be feeling this way. You shouldn't be doing this. You can still choose to be kind to yourself. You can choose to love yourself. You can choose to support yourself. You can choose to lift yourself up and have your own back, even when you are experiencing negative emotions. And if you want to dive even deeper into this work of learning to manage your mind super well, and if you want to know exactly how to stop all the negative brain chatter and rewire your brain to focus on more supportive thoughts that are going to lift you up in life rather than drag you down, I encourage you to check out my course, the Managing Your Mind Master Course. You're going to find it under the shop tab on my website, inspiringmumlife.com. And a quick little shout out to my new YouTube channel. It's just called Inspiring Life School. You feel free to follow me. Every now and then I'm going to post some new videos over there. As much as I love talking on the podcast, I've discovered I love recording videos for you too. So as always, my friend, you know I love and appreciate you all. Until next time, take care and much love, my friend. Thank you so much for listening to the Inspiring Life School podcast. I really appreciate you allowing me to be a part of your life. If you'd love to stay in touch, please know that you can always find me on Instagram at Frances Vidakovic, or you can visit my website, inspiringmumlife.com, where you can sign up and receive so many amazing freebies that I've created just for you to help you implement all my teachings into practice. There you'll also find all my online courses, resources and programs that I've created to help you uplevel your life in seriously the simplest way possible, so that you can ultimately create for yourself a life that feels simpler, lighter, and allows you to show up in a way that you love as your best and most authentic version of yourself. Now remember, this podcast is all about not just dreaming but also doing, because to create true sustainable change in your life, you need to be willing to do things differently. And that's what I'm here to support you to do every single step along the way, so that you too can begin to live your one wild and precious life with less stress, less overwhelm, less drama, and instead with zero regrets. Finally, if this podcast resonates with you at all and you appreciate the content, I would absolutely love for you to show your support by leaving me a review on Apple Podcasts. I'm on a mission to help more people wake up to the preciousness of life and to help them live their days with more intention and purpose, and your review will help make this goal of mine possible. Well, once again, thank you so much. I have loved spending this time with you, and I look forward to connecting with you again. I am Frances Vidakovic, and you have been listening to the Inspiring Life School podcast.